Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Society of New Haven. I am Amanda Detmer-Erard. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and yes, I have chickens on my dress. I am the outgoing co-chair of the Covenantal Relations Committee, or the CRC, and I'd like to take a moment now to thank the other members of the CRC, some of whom are here in person with us today, some of whom could not be here, but all of whom have had a very important role, each and every one, in making today's service possible. Thank you to Nancy Apfel, Lisa Anderson, Karen Swanson, Maggie Goodwin, and Mark Eisenberg. And we are always open and accepting to new members to our committee, and I hope you'll consider joining us, especially after hearing today's service. As Reverend Linda Susan reminded us in one of their sermons last year, Covenant calls us to center relationship in all we do. It is the medium through which we practice our faith. When we take Covenant seriously, when we choose to fulfill its commitments, we drop more fully into our own lives and aspirations. We're practicing how to be our best selves, and we're doing it together. And we are so glad to be together here with you today and with you on Zoom. We're grateful to our worship associate, Sue Lindsley, and our technology gurus, Carol and Larry, for their assistance in making this service possible today. And we also want to thank Linda Powlek and her son, Zachary, for their beautiful music. What did I say, son? I totally meant to say grandson, I'm sorry. It says grandson right here, the wrong word came out. Grandson, Zachary, for providing the beautiful music for our service today. And now I think Sue has some announcements.
If you are visiting us for the first time, or perhaps new enough to USNH that you have questions about Unitarian Universalism, and you're not alone, and our congregation, join us today in the membership office. Upstairs, up the stairs, third office on the left for our monthly visitors chat, right after the service. It is sponsored by the membership team, and don't be put off by membership. It's not a hard sell. You probably have a lot of questions, and it's fine if you keep coming back the first Sunday of every month.
Thank you, Sue. For our call to worship, I'll be reading the lyrics of a, I think, very well-known song by John Lennon and Paul McCartney, We Can Work It Out. Try to see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can't go on? While you see it your way, run the risk of knowing that our love may soon be gone. We can work it out. We can work it out. Think of what you're saying. You can get it wrong, and still you think that it's all right. Think of what I'm saying. We can work it out and get it straight, or say goodnight. We can work it out. We can work it out. Life is very short, and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again, try to see it my way.
We believe each and every person. We light this chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition.
We light this chalice in honor of our covenant, which is embodied in the children's version of the 8 principles.
We believe each and every person is important. We believe all people should be treated fairly.
In our congregations, all people are accepted and we learn together. We believe each person is free to search for what is true and right in life.
Everyone deserves a vote about the things that concern them. We believe in working for a peaceful, fair, and free world.
We believe in caring for our planet Earth and every living thing that shares it with us. We must work together for diversity and against racism and oppression.
We're here to revisit and reinforce our full covenant together. We will all be reading the covenant together in a responsive reading. The congregation will see their parts written in the order of service. When it's our turn to respond, we will gesture to you like this to extend so you all can read. We wanted to say first, too, that the Covenantal Committee offers ourselves as a way for facilitating all of us keeping the covenant. So individually or as a group, please feel free to consult or talk with us.
Good morning. I'm Mark Eisenberg. I'm a recent addition to the CRC. My pronouns are he, him, his.
And I'm Maggie Goodwin, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. We covenant together to create and nurture a culture of respect and kindness, and to engage in the spiritual and everyday practice of loving more generously.
While the following words express our intentions in writing our true covenant lives and breathes in our actions. To this end, we will strive to
new ideas, experiences, and change, to create space for all opinions, and to warmly welcome newcomers into our community.
By welcoming a diversity in all its forms, celebrating the unique qualities and gifts of every individual, and by honoring the diversity of our spiritual paths.
And honor others with our full attention, seeking to understand and assuming good intentions.
Speaking with care and consideration, being gentle with one another, and remembering there is power in silence and reflection.
By sharing personal stories that build trust and community, by speaking our truths with courage and encouraging others to do the same, especially in difficult times.
Addressing differences with honesty and compassion, requesting support when needed, making and receiving authentic apologies, and be willing to forgive.
Remembering that these qualities can enrich all that we do, and by holding things lightly when we are able.
Good morning. I am James Erard, and my pronouns are he, him, his. We did not receive any joys and sorrows before the service. If you'd like to share one now, Jesse has the microphone and he can bring it to you. Just say your name.
My name is Greg. My wife and I celebrated our 40th anniversary this week.
Hi, my name is Lily, and my daughter Tina, who lives in Singapore, came for a visit for 2 weeks.
I'm Gwen Severance, and my beloved Judy is home from the hospital and doing very well. Thank you.
Well, I am delighted to have my grandson, Zachary, with me this morning to play duets with.
I'm delighted that our incoming music director Christopher Grundy is here with us this morning.
Maggie Goodwin, we had a lovely celebration for life of Betty Markham, who was a wonderful, wonderful person, and had a lovely send-off after 92 years.
I'm Cindy Chalkin. My family is finally going to be able to hold a memorial for our parents who both passed away during the pandemic. We will be gathering in Illinois in a couple of weeks, and we're very excited to be together and honor them.
Nice.
I'm Sharon McBlain, and although it was announced in the service, I just wanted to help us think of Tanisha Drummond's and her family as their grandmother died. It was a joyful life, and there's the sadness of death, but put your arms around Tanae. She's really feeling this one.
I'm Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich. My pronouns are they, them. And I just wanted to honor the life of Reverend Rob Eller Isaacs, who was one of my mentors, my internship supervisor, who died a few weeks ago. He was a towering figure in Unitarian Universalism and an all-around mensch.
I have a joy. Elsa, Ben, Amanda, and I are going to Star Island next week with my sister and nephew and a few of our congregants. It's a wonderful place, and we hope to share stories and have you come there too someday. I'd like to read a spoken meditation by Leif Seligman. Each breath. We pause in the stillness to rest for a moment, to quiet ourselves so that we can feel what stirs within us. Each breath draws us closer to the pulse of life, and with each exhalation, we make room for something new. May we find in this gathering the comfort of those who care. May we encounter patience along our growing edges and compassion in our most tender spots. Here, may we find the inspiration and encouragement we need to face our challenges and nurture ourselves. And in the presence of suffering across the globe, May we redouble our efforts to practice kindness where we are, with the hope that the light of our actions travels like the light of far-away stars. May our gestures of compassion and generosity seed possibility. May we travel humbly with one another, choosing reconciliation over resentment as we try to live right-sized. When life presses in and shifts us off balance, when pain assails us, when frustration mounts, may the rhythm of our breath steady us and bring us back to a place of gratitude.
It was Winston Churchill who said, "We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give." These are the words of Kayla Parker. We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. May there be an offering to sustain and grow the life and mission of this congregation. May we give in love and hope. The ushers will be present at the back of the sanctuary as you exit, and you can place your donations with them. And for you folks offline, perhaps you could drop your generous donation to the church through the mail.
Good morning. My name is Paul Trotta. My pronouns are he, his, him, and I was involved with the Permanent Committee on Right Relations and later the Covenantal Relations Committee from 2014 until last year. I'm going to talk to you today about the beginnings and what I wanted to show you that my trousers are rolled, and all of the English majors and most of the rest of you will recognize the allusion to T.S. Eliot's poem in the line that reads, I grow old, I shall wear my trousers rolled. This is to alert you to the fact that I was asked to give my personal reflections on the forming of the USNH covenant. And with the creaky bones of old age, there is a loss of memory. So expect that there will be some gaps and perhaps some details that exist only in my mind. In the fall of 2014, in an effort to be proactive against potential internal disputes, USNH formed the Right Relations Working Group. Bobby Pace was our chair, Gail Figliola, Loren Fields, Georgia Jennings, Nancy Lesh, Bruce Levison, Tracy Navarro Davis, and myself were members. I felt very honored to be asked to serve on that committee. The first task of the group was to create a covenant. Agreeing to abide by a covenant rather than being bound by a creed and adherence to a text written some 2,000 years ago that has undergone numerous translations is what separates Unitarian Universalists from other religions. And fully remarkable, it is a covenant that we have created as a congregation and voted to accept. Having grown up Catholic and rejecting that faith's rigidity and miracles, I am ever appreciative of my faith. 2 community conversations were held in January of 2015 with a purpose to elicit input from the congregation of their vision of what a safe and respectful community would be like, one in which they felt they would be heard. The conversations were attended by over 60 people, and in some cases, their very own words were used to form the foundation of the covenant. The heart of the covenant is that we express our emotions and differences in respectful ways, that we approach disagreements constructively by reaching out to the person with whom we have an issue, that we listen attentively and respectfully, and that we acknowledge that differences are inevitable, but need not involve conflict and hurt. The Right Relations Working Group met regularly in its task to turn the input from the congregation into a concise document. There were 8 of us, which is probably 8 opinions cubed or 512 different opinions in the room at any given moment. I very clearly remember one evening when we had poster sheets up all over the place with little consensus in sight. And then Loren Fields, who had been mostly quiet that night, stood and said, "You've got 8 major concepts, and here they are," which she then listed, and we all agreed upon them. We did some wordsmithing, and by the end of the evening, we had our covenant. It was adopted by the congregation at our annual meeting, and a condensed version has been read each week during services. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Emily McCabe, not Jackie Shapiro, so we decided to swap the order of our two readings this morning because we felt it was important to talk about what covenant is before we did talk about what happens when it breaks. So, all right, so I will be, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I will be reading A Covenant Invites Relationship by Lisa Ward. A covenant is not a definition of a relationship. It is the framework for our relating. A covenant leaves room for chance and change. It is humble towards evolution. It claims, I will abide with you in this common endeavor, be present as best I can in our becoming. This calls for a level of trust, courage, and sacrifice that needs to be nurtured, renewed, and affirmed on a regular basis. A creed creates a static truth, something that does not incorporate new insights and realities. A covenant is a dance of co-creation, keeping in step with one another in the flow of our lives. A creed seeks uniformity and a unison voice. A covenant seeks harmony and a shared voice. Sometimes we may arrive at a unison, but it is not required. A creed gives authority to the statement. A covenant gives authority to shared intention. A creed creates an us and them. A covenant invites relationship. A creed is a prescription that must be relied upon. A covenant relies on the treasures of shared truth. The overall trust within this covenant is the truth, capital T, something which no one person can fully see, yet something within each and every person can come to know, in glimpses and in other stories and epiphanies. Truth is ever-changing in our seeking to understand because of our limited perspectives. We grow into a deeper sense of the meaning of all things when we take our journey seriously with full heart and mind. The courage within this covenant is in the acceptance and celebration of life, with all of its challenges, pain, ironies, and joy. And the sacrifice within this covenant is in the letting go of dogma, of assumptions, of control, and giving over to a greater wisdom which comes to us in bits and pieces. The task of this covenant is to take responsibility for the freedom we espouse. We know that we are interconnected and that what we do creates ripples of hope or despair, of affirmation or negation. What we do with and for one another is powerful and beyond our imagining.
Good morning. I'm Jackie Trimble Shapiro, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm grateful for the Unitarian Universalist Association, or UUA, which is the central organization for the over 1,000 Unitarian Universalist congregations. It offers many online resources. When thinking about covenant, I went to the UUA website, typed covenant into the search bar, and got to explore this topic. My comments are adapted from a poem I found there entitled When Covenant Breaks by Francis Kojar. When covenant breaks, hope flickers, and doubt seeps in like floodwaters through the cracks in the basement. Covenant is a promise that we will work together on a team we didn't choose, doing group work. It is the radical answer to a radical goal, at least on paper. For our faith does not give us answers for what to do when covenant breaks. Covenant is a promise between the people of this faith. It is also a promise between ourself and our faith. And sometimes, nothing takes more faith than staying. Choosing to speak of our broken heart to those who are brave enough to face change. to stay in dialogue and have those hard conversations we never wanted to have, and choosing to be angry rather than walk away. All of these are holding true to our covenant. May humility keep us listening, even when our own pain hasn't been heard yet. Even when relationships are shattering like crystals falling to a cold stone. Even when all we need is a hug, and our community won't open its arms yet. When covenant breaks, we need to come home to trust. To trust that there are others out there who would have supported us if they were only there. And to trust that our faith will always be here tomorrow, bound by nothing more or less than the promises made by people willing to fight, like a golden web glimmering in the sun with dew in the first light of morning. Because when covenant breaks, it is a tear, merely in a web still holding strong. And as long as we believe in ourselves and in the greatness that we could become, and in the greatness of what we could become together, then we can always come back tomorrow, roll up our sleeves, and start weaving again.
I think I need to put this down a little. I don't know how. Oops. There you go. Not that I didn't know I was short. I've known that for a long time, but still. No, it's going back up. How do you stop it? Oh, that's good. Okay. Jackie, that was beautiful. It really was. Guess I'll take this off. Okay. My name is Sharon McBlain. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Covenant is a way of understanding and stating our best intentions. I found this covenant by James Vila Blake on the UUA website. It's short and to the point. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our family attended our rural Methodist church nearly every Sunday where I listened and believed in the covenantal words, love one another, love your neighbor as yourself, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. For my family, the words were simplified to be kind. One Sunday morning, my Sunday school teacher, when talking to us about other religions, mentioned the recently joined together Unitarian and Universalist churches. When she explained that the Universalists believed that all people were saved and no one went to hell, I was immediately impressed by the fairness and kindness of that idea. Later, I learned that UUs required no particular doctrine or creed that needs to be repeated every week. When we moved to Hamden, I found USNH. Soon I took the leap and joined. I made friends and loved the community and the philosophy, but I needed more in order to really live within my covenant with life. I needed to be engaged, really engaged with the African American people who were living in New Haven. My friend Tom Holloman, a fellow UU, listened to my need. He introduced me to his friends at the Waverly Townhouses. It was the opportunity to live out my covenant that I had been looking for. I began to wonder if more folks in my mostly white, middle-class, liberal religious community would also like this, see this as an opportunity to connect, to share time and love across the divisions of race and class. I believed that all children are our children. I knew that trust and respect have to be earned, and that would need to happen in order to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. I could follow the lead of the grassroots leadership and ask,
How can I be of help? And then to dependably show up. I felt I needed a way to explain my chosen religion to my family. If there was no required belief system or doctrine, then what could possibly hold a religious community together? Where was God? And even more troubling, where was Jesus? Trying to explain UUs took some thinking. I was relieved, and am relieved, to be able to say with confidence, we are a covenantal religion instead of a doctrinal religion. Our covenants hold us together.
So we're now going to get to sing We Can Work It Out. We don't have the words printed, but if you know it, sing along. Try to see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can't go on? Why you see it your way? There's a risk that knowing that our love will soon be gone. We can work it out. We can work it out. Think of what you're saying. You can get it wrong and still you think that it's all right. Think of what I'm saying. We can work it out and get it straight or say goodnight. We can work it out. We can work it out. Life is very short and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friends. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again. Try to see it my way. Only time will tell if I am right or I am wrong. While you see it your way, there's a chance that we might fall apart before too long. We can work it out. We can work it out.
Please join me in reciting the words in our order of service as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry ourselves, and we are together again.
Sorry, Sharon, I got to raise it a little. Just a little, though. Invitation to Brave Space, written by Mickey Scott Bay Jones, based on Beth Strano's original work. Together, we will create brave space, because there is no such thing as a safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars, and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. This space will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side.